Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Austin from AwfulMedia.com, and it's been a while since I've actually recorded a video. And today's video is going to be a much requested one, at least more requested than anything else recently. We're going to be covering how to switch styles with like radio buttons or select menus using the WordPress Theme Customizer API. Now this is going to be very simple to do if you were successful with following my other 4 parts before this. It's pretty much the same stuff, just a bit of a different control, and you throw in some options in there, and then you output whatever the value is for that option, and you have a style change. You can also use this method to switch complete style sheets. If you have like a light version and a dark version, and you would change the text, the background, borders, all that stuff, you change all that color at once, then maybe it'd be ideal for you to change the whole style sheet. You can do that this way too, just output a different name. So you have dark.css and light.css. So output for the get theme mod, output dark or light and put that inside there like that. We're not going to be doing that. We're going to be outputting a style, and what we're going to be focusing on is this column. We're going to move the column over here. We're pretty much moving this column over here, but it's the same thing. That's just for my setup. Your website will be completely different than mine, hopefully. So you may have to go about doing it a different way than I did. I just threw this together really quickly so I can show you how to do it. What I've done is I wrapped a div around this column, and that div has a class, and we're going to manipulate that class inside of our functions.php based on the value that we get from our theme customizer. So you could do it a different way. It's completely up to you, but this is the quickest way I could think to do it, and the easiest for me to do it at the time. So let me show you really quick how that's going to look in the end, and then we'll get into doing it from scratch. So I actually have mine inside the copyright details. I did not make a section for it. Then here I have sidebar, and then it's like right sidebar, left sidebar. Now what's going on behind the scenes is when you click right sidebar, since I have the div around this that I'm controlling, it adds left, and when you have left sidebar, it adds this to float to the right. So that's a bit backwards, but since my containing div that I'm manipulating is around this column, it'll be pushed to the right when you click left, and then you do it the other way, it'll be pushed to the left when you click right. That sounds confusing. Maybe I should have thought of a better way, but it works, and it's kind of simple if you think about it. So I'm going to be showing you how to do this. Pretty simple stuff, but you may not understand the way to go about it unless I just nudge you in that direction. So let's get started. Okay, so I want to show you the index.php. All I've done here is taken a div with the class of main content and wrapped it around this section. Now that's kind of messy, but it's temporary for me because I'm just showing you how to do it. You could do it a different way. You could put it on your section, but see how we have 11 columns, then it's going to kind of fall in line with the other ones, so it's kind of difficult to manipulate the float on that. So I'm just going to add a class around that to manipulate the float on that, which would control everything inside of it, just to get around having to hack it up anymore. Well, I've hacked it up about as much as I could, I guess. So I have this div around the whole section that contains that column. And the sidebar doesn't have anything. Nothing around it at all. Let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we want to do is create a section, because I want a section for this one. And I want to comment this and say, start the layout settings. That'll work. The section is going to be called Game Square Layout. My phone, very unprofessional of me to leave that on, sorry. The title is going to be, not Game Square, I will say Layout Options or something. Then we'll say Modify the Layout. Okay, that'll be our section. Now we want to add a setting. So just copy and paste pretty much once we have everything set up the way we want it with our other settings up here. It's just all copy and paste. Well, not all. It's mostly copy and paste. This setting's going to be called, I don't know, a sidebar setting. Sure. And the default is going to be the default to which option. Like, it's going to be option A, B, or C. Mine's going to default to the option that's going to be left, because our main content's on the left. That's all we need for that setting. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this controller and I want to copy that. And I'm going to paste it down here. But we have to do a bit of modifying to this. First of all, I'll get the ID of sidebar to select. I don't know. Sure, that works. The label is going to be sidebar location. I didn't think this part through very much. The section will be the section we just created right there. And the settings will be the settings we just created right there. Now let's add a comma on that. And now we're going to set a type. Type is, you know, what kind of input form is this? And our input form is going to be, we could do select menu by doing select, or we could do like I had it at the beginning and do radio. So it's just the radio buttons. And now we can set up our choices. So we're going to say choices. Now we're going to place these choices inside of an array because there's going to be multiple of them. And now we're going to, we'll need a comma there for this one. Just enter that down. And we'll tab that over there. And now inside of here we'll have value 1 is equal to this, comma, value 2 is equal to that. We know how arrays work. We've used them a million times by now. So the first one will say left. Now this is going to be the value it outputs. This is going to be the text value that the user sees when they click on it. So we'll say this one's going to be sidebar right. Or, nah, it's kind of backwards. Right sidebar. So when they click on the right sidebar, it'll output the value left, which will put into a float style. So it'll float all the content, the main content, to the left, thereby placing the sidebar on the right. Again, it's only backwards because my website, the div is around the main column. So modify that to fit your website however you have it set up. Now right will be left sidebar. If you don't get that, if you don't get why I'm doing that, then please ask in the comments below and I'll explain it in some text and see if I can clear that up any. But we'll have the left sidebar selection outputting the right value. So now whenever the person clicks left sidebar, we'll output right wherever we bring in this information. And we'll bring that information in right down here. But before we do that, let's hit Control S. Let's go ahead and refresh. You see now we have the layout options section above the copyright details. We'll click on that and here we have sidebar location, right sidebar, left sidebar. Now clicking these does absolutely nothing because we do not do anything with the information yet. But we'll go ahead and do that now. So we'll say inside of our style tags here that we are outputting into the head right here, we're adding it onto the WordPress head, this function, which this function encompasses this whole style tag area. So we're going to target the div that is around the main content, which is main content. So we'll say main content. Inside of this, we're going to, I don't know what's up with my spacing, but it's getting really annoying. What is, those are spaces. Ah, what happened? I'll have to fix that. I hate using spaces. It's ugly. Okay. I noticed all this was all screwed up as well. But anyway, we'll do a float, and then say if I say float right, now the main content will pick up and push it all over to the right side of this sidebar. And if I say float left, it will default back to where it was, because it was on the left by default. So that's a way to do that. But what we're going to do is actually make this dynamic. So we're going to put we'll open a PHP tag, close that PHP tag. We'll echo out the get theme mod function. Close that off. Inside of here, we'll put the value of the ID, or the ID that we want to output, the setting, and it's sidebar setting. So we'll copy that, paste that in right there, and then go out here and refresh. Now we'll go to layout options and click left sidebar, and they worked the first time, so that's good. That's how you do that. So you can take that same information and apply it to anything, really. You know how to do colors with the color picker. You know how to do images with the image uploader and selector. You know how to do text with the text fields. And you can change this to a select menu just by going right in here and at the type. Oh, if I can do that right. Type select. And now see if I am correct. Yeah, now we have a select menu. I click left sidebar. Outputs, it's the same thing. It's the same thing about you can only pick one item at a time, and it will output whatever the value of that option is. So same principle for both of those. If you want to see another input form, please let me know. I can't think of any that would be very valuable. We've covered, I can't think of anything. So let me know. You can use this to switch style sheets, which means you could actually include a style sheet that would switch the columns around, and they could switch to that if you don't want to output CSS into the head of the document. But that means you're going to have more requests, HTTP requests, and that's not a good thing. It may not be pretty to have CSS outputted. I don't know. It may not be pretty to have CSS up here, but that's not updated. But it's better than having like 3 more style sheet requests, because that'll slow your website down quite a bit. That's how you do that. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see anything else. And I would like to wrap this series up, if not, and then we'll get back to finishing up the widget, I think, maybe. Still maybe on that. I'm pretty sure, though. We'll do a bit more with that, add some inputs in the back end, maybe, if that's a thing that I think we should do. And then we'll finish up the WordPress theme that's been going on for 20 years now, and get that out of the way, and then we'll move on to something, hopefully, a lot more fun, and that more people will be interested in. Because what we're doing right now is kind of specific to a small group of people. I would like to do some stuff that's a bit more general. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. My name is Austin. And, subscribe to the YouTube channel, please. I need your subscription. That would be cool. Follow me on Twitter. I don't update it much lately, apparently, because I've been super busy with things. But follow me on there. I now have a Google Plus account that I will try to be more active on. I do love Google Plus. Facebook is there, obviously. Do all those things. If you want to ask me questions, you can find my email somewhere. So get in touch with me, guys. I'll see you next time.